and welcome to a new episode of Red Mountain Express. I am Blake Westbrook. Joining me, as always, is Patrick Tucker. How you doing, Patrick?
I'm doing great, Blake.
And here for the second week out of 3 is Matthew Joyner.
I'm going for the record.
Hey, like I said earlier, if this was baseball, you'd be an MVP right
That's
now.
right. Hall of Fame, even.
Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Yeah. We are recording from the incubator room at the Lumbar. We want to thank them again for allowing us to take up some of their precious space to record. We are in Pepper Place, and that kind of ties in with the show we're having today because we have some good guests on our show today.
Yes, we do.
Our guests on the show today are Liz Rodell. She is the marketing manager of Sloss Real Estate, and Tom Walker. He is the chief operating officer of Sloss Real Estate. Thank y'all for joining us.
Yeah, of course.
So before we get into talking about Sloss and what y'all do, kind of introduce yourselves. Tell us a little bit about yourselves and how you made it to Birmingham.
All right. My name is Liz, and I've been in Birmingham for about 6 years now, and never really intended on staying, but the more I stay, the more I like it. And so
It's usually how it works out.
I've heard that so many times
Right
now.
here, yeah.
Yeah.
So where are you from originally?
I grew up in Toronto, so
Oh.
Long way
we
from
were
home.
sitting
Long way
with a
from home.
Canadian. We're getting international this evening.
All right.
That's a first for us.
Yeah.
I think.
But quickly fell in love with the South and the hospitality.
And then not having a lot of snow.
Well, and what brought you all the way from Toronto to Birmingham?
So I was in North Carolina for my undergrad, and my parents came here, and I was the typical millennial post-grad that moved home for a few months and got a job in Birmingham and ended up staying.
Very cool. All right.
Awesome.
Yeah, and Tom, what about you?
So I'm the opposite of that. I am a Alabama grown all the way. I went to University of Alabama, moved to Birmingham.
Roll Tide.
After school, and started working at a real estate company here, and have stayed and worked on projects in Birmingham since then. So I've been at Sloss for about 2 years now. So.
Yeah. So tell us about Sloss Real Estate Company. Who are y'all? What are the projects that y'all are associated with?
Yeah, so Sloss Real Estate Company is a company that's been around for about 100 years, right under it. It was founded in 1920. So next year we'll celebrate our centennial.
Awesome.
We really are known now in Birmingham as sort of being urban developers, property managers, project managers, leasing group. So we have about 850,000 square feet here in Birmingham that we lease, manage, develop for our owners.
Cool. So tell me just a little bit, because I know we're in Pepper Place, and this is one of y'all's developments. Tell us a little bit about how did you come up with Pepper Place? Like, whose idea was it to turn this lovely set of buildings into this amazing space that it is now?
Yeah, so Kathy Sloss Jones is the president of Sloss Real Estate Company. She bought the first building in Pepper Place in 1988. That was the Dr. Pepper building, which is where Richard Tubbs is, if you're familiar from being down here. That building was sort of the first domino to fall and sort of the assembly of Pepper Place to what it is today, to where it's around 350,000 square feet, comprised of, over 8 buildings.
Yeah.
So it was really her vision to be able to go out and buy a building that was vacant and needed to be redeveloped, have a different sort of vision for what it needed to be, and be able to go out and execute on doing that.
That's awesome.
Now, so correct me if I'm wrong, but Sloss is also over the development of like Back 40 in the Sloss Docks area?
That's right. So the Sloss Docks project is a 100,000+ square foot warehouse that sits sort of in the shadows of Sloss Furnaces. It was previously occupied by UAB and used primarily as storage. UAB moved out in sort of an effort to sort of consolidate where they have storage around the city. And when they did, we really were faced with a, what are we going to do next type moment. So luckily, again, we're fortunate enough to have a location that was really primed for food and beverage development. We're able to work out a deal with Back 40 and Doug Brown, who's the local franchisee owner, get them into town. And then also another big component to the Sloss Docks development is Steris IMS moved over their animal health sanitation unit, which is actually really cool. terraces across First Avenue from Sloss Docks. They have hundreds of people that work over there. They're a huge part of really what I'll call the Sloss district, and we're excited to work with them. So it sort of came about sort of by necessity, right? We needed something to go in there. We think that providing real estate development with food and beverage component north of the railroad tracks, even though it's north of the railroad tracks by about 150 yards, it's still
you're basically standing on them.
That's right. So I mean, but to us it counts, and you gotta kind of crawl before you can walk. So that really represents sort of north side development east of the city center, which is something that hadn't happened up to that point.
So what makes, the Sloss Docks and Back 40 and in this area enticing to, not only tenants, but also folks who want to come downtown and do their business?
So something about both locations that's really great is that it's easy to gather people and meet for activities. So what I love about Back 40 is they have the zip bike station. And so it's accessible not just by car, but also you can walk along the First Avenue North Bridge, or you can ride a bike there. Pepper Place, it's an easy walking destination. And so I think for people that are overwhelmed too by downtown and which way is a one way and can I go this direction, where can I park, Pepper Place, you can come here, you can park, you can walk around, you can easily access the Rotary Trail and go over by Railroad Park. And so it's a very easy destination for people to truly discover downtown by foot or by bike.
Yeah. I was introduced to Pepper Place through the market, and I think a lot of people have the same experience. What has that market done for this area? Has that really transformed this area? Has been a part of that transformation process?
Oh, definitely. I think the market has kind of embodied what Pepper Place is about. So it is by far our biggest event. It takes place weekly, and it allows people to truly come and experience what Pepper Place is about. And it's celebrating the South, and it's celebrating people that have really excelled in their craft.
And so the market comes back this April, right?
Yes, April 13th.
Anything new in the works for the market, or is it just kind of going to still be the same great thing we know about?
Well, so now we have the element of the entertainment district. And so I mean, it can only get better from there.
Yeah, so something we're trying to get people excited about down here is, the tomatoes have a tendency to come in those wooden lattice baskets. So you go grab a basket, take it to one of our restaurateurs, put it on the bar, get them to throw it in a blender, and make you a Bloody Mary right there with the tomatoes.
That is a great idea.
Right?
That sounds amazing.
So I think that, I don't know if we'll take it all the way to that level. I hope that we will, certainly. But encouraging our
take it to that level. It's okay.
We can go there.
Right?
No, so that brings up to another good question though. How do you feel like the entertainment district is going to really affect or change how you guys have worked with Pepper Place, or what you've done with it so far, or maybe affects your future plans?
Well, first of all, we're thrilled about the entertainment district because we think that it's just another sort of tool in the toolbox to help drive traffic down here to benefit our tenants. We didn't want this to be an entertainment district where people were walking around with glow-in-the-dark drinks and out at 2 o'clock in the morning kind of, bumping around. So it's really going to be a much more tame, what I'll call intentional focus on how we take advantage of it. Liz, who just started with us, is really excited to be able to kind of be the one who comes up with programming and the events that go along with correlating that. So it's much less a Bourbon Street type mentality that we'll approach this with, and much more of a intentional, planned out, deliberate, event focused, program to be able to go along with it.
And you guys have some new tenants in Pepper Place too. Obviously, the Lumbar has been here just for a few weeks, but tell us about some of the other new additions and any of the ones you have maybe planned to move in, if there's any you can talk about.
So Ignite Cycle, which is next door to Lumbar, they just got their final approval today. And
Awesome.
So they'll have their grand opening party next Friday.
And that's a cycle studio?
Yes, and I highly recommend it.
Now, do they do all the disco lights and all that crazy stuff?
Oh, yeah.
My wife is very into spin classes.
Think EDM concert meets a spin class.
I could get down with that.
So you leave feeling great, physically and mentally.
And then come over here and get a drink. If
Right.
you don't feel Great.
And Tiffany is really cool too because she went through Co-Starters.
Oh, that's awesome. So with Rev Birmingham, right?
Yeah.
Awesome.
And then the farm stand by Stone Hollow, they are getting ready to have their big grand opening as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I sent that story to Blake. I don't
Yeah.
think we ever actually mentioned it on a previous episode.
That's
but
my fault, too.
Yeah, I totally blinked on that one. But yeah, I'm really excited about that. I think that's one of the things. It was more of like a kind of a fresh food stand that's going to be open during the week, right?
Yeah, so they'll be open 6 days a week, starting at 9 a.m. and then until 6 p.m.
That's awesome because that's not something we have a lot of like right now. We don't have that like farm to table, like farm to your table stand other than Pepper Place, and that's once a week. So it'll be great to have a place that's more frequent that you can just go down and be like, hey, I need some fresh vegetables. Let's go there.
And they're so great too because they can educate you on things. So if you're having people over and you're like, I have no idea what to get, like. I personally stand at the Trader Joe's wine aisle debating what to get, and so it's nice to have someone that can kind of guide you in the right direction.
And you also have Hot and Hot moving over to Pepper Place as well. We talked about that last week. How big of a steal was that for you guys?
We are very excited, to say the least. I think that they will just continue to elevate the area and make it more of a destination for people to go to.
Yeah, I think that's going to drive a lot of traffic, even for the places like this that are around. Like if you're waiting on a table at Hot and Hot, go grab a drink at the Lumbar or one of the other fine establishments around here.
So we also have a couple of tenants that are, I hate to be the coming soon guy.
Yeah, no, I love
that's
coming
what we
soon.
want.
That's definitely what we're all about.
But we've got a major tenant that's moving in that'll be hopefully open this fall. And we can't announce it yet, but we'll probably have it out in the next week or two.
Awesome.
So we're really excited about that. And then, kind of as more and more publications come to Birmingham, we're excited that we're going to have some more magazines joining sort of the Pepper Place community of creatives as well. So coming soon. Can't really give all the details yet, but it's still sort of going. We're excited about it.
Now, did I hear something too about is there a aerial yoga? Is that here too?
Yes, so Aero Joe, which is around the corner on 2nd, they have aerial yoga.
No,
you look way too excited about this.
That
this
needs
is
to
something I
happen.
definitely feel
Patrick,
like I need
you
to try.
cannot do aerial yoga. You have to survive to keep this thing going.
I've heard it's like a deep tissue massage.
See,
How
that
can
sounds
you say
nice.
that?
Okay, no, that sold me right there. That one line.
When you don't fall out of the thing and
Right.
destroy
You
yourself.
I'm
have to
still
sign a
young
waiver.
and okay.
I'm gonna tell you right now, if I did aerial yoga, it would be my memorial would be really nice.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Well, so as far as like the coming soon type stuff, if our listeners want to keep up to date on what Pepper Place is doing or what Sloss Real Estate is doing, where can they do that? Do y'all post stuff on Instagram? You have a good website people can follow?
Yeah, so we have a lot of different ways that you can stay looped in. Instagram and Facebook are great resources for that. And then we also do a monthly newsletter. So that goes out the first Thursday of every month. So it went out this afternoon. And then we do a quarterly magazine, and that will go out next Friday. And that is like truly a great piece because I feel like it highlights what we have going on here really well.
What's the name of that magazine?
The Place.
The Place. Okay.
Awesome.
And it's done through Issue.
Okay.
So similar to B Metro.
Very cool. And we'll put links to all your social media accounts and website in the show notes.
Yeah. Well, thank y'all so much for being on the podcast today. We really appreciate it. We enjoy Pepper Place so much, and I've been to Back 40 myself. I've enjoyed it. Y'all have some really nice properties, and we're glad to know what y'all are doing for the city and really kind of bringing downtown back.
Hope you'll be here for another 100 years.
Absolutely.
Or so.
And let's take a quick break, hear from our sponsor, and we'll come back with some news about Birmingham. Beecham Woodworks is a locally owned and operated wood shop in Birmingham, Alabama, specializing in custom furniture and small home goods. Chris and K&M Beecham create a wide variety of unique pieces of all sizes, ranging from cutting boards to farmhouse tables. Using wood sourced from Alabama sawmills, Beecham Woodworks creates affordable quality pieces that will be a one-of-a-kind fixture for your home. So support your local woodworker and visit redmountainexpress.com/woodworks or check them out on their Facebook and Instagram accounts. Beach and Woodworks, turning your house into a home. And welcome back to the second half of the Red Mountain Express. Quit pointing your finger at me. I know when to come on the air, man.
He's so
I
sensitive.
said now.
That was a great interview we had, guys.
Yeah, no, there was. I really enjoyed getting to meet them and hearing what they had to say. It's really interesting because I've been to Pepper Place so many times for so many different reasons and used to work right next door to it and never really stopped to think about what goes into it.
Yeah.
I think the cool thing about it is that it's such a diverse area. You have like a market, and then you have restaurants, you have a bar, the Lumbar, and and then the cycle place. I mean, it's just so diverse.
And don't forget aerial yoga.
That's right.
No,
I could see myself falling from that, man.
they're not here anymore, so we can talk about them. But I think Sloss is a really cool company. I think one of the things that they've done is they kind of started out from what I remember anyway, in Lakeview. And look at what Lakeview's become. I mean, in the last few years, it's just kind of blown up with the new developments like Hattie B's and all that stuff, all that stuff going in there. And then with Pepper Place and Lakeview, and sort of kind of working their way together with the Rotary Trail and all that. They're kind of connecting with zip bikes now. You can easily get from here to there. And downtown and around. I think it's cool.
The Back 40 is awesome. I love that place. Yeah.
I still haven't been to Back 40, regretfully. But like what you're talking about, Patrick, I think it's all part of that changing face of Birmingham that we're seeing, that we've been seeing for the last few years now, and I think it's going to continue to increase in a positive direction, or at least I hope it does.
Well, and as he said, like it kind of keeps expanding, like north and down like from Avondale, like into Woodlawn. I think you're going to see kind of that whole area. Just, I think it's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, and the best thing about it is that the more that this grows down here, I think the more people it attracts to Birmingham that maybe have a bad opinion of Birmingham. Someone like me, who before they moved here did not want anything to do with Birmingham, and now I'm hosting a podcast about Birmingham.
This place is a little sticky. I've heard so many people say, just like Liz did, that they moved here for work or school or whatever and just fell in love with it and stayed. I grew up with a bunch of people who couldn't wait to get out of Birmingham, and most of them are like, can't wait to come back, and they're excited to come back.
Well, that's kind of even my wife's story. I mean, I'm from the Birmingham area, but my wife was not, and she came down here for school, and when we left and went to Meridian and then Huntsville, it's all we talked about was coming back to Birmingham.
Mm-hmm.
It was like a magnet pulling us back in.
We're really happy to have them on the show today, and maybe we'll have them back very soon. And we're keep recording here. I enjoy coming to the Lumbar, and the blood orange cider is the best thing I've had in a long time.
Yeah, you just put me onto the blood orange cider, and you said it was by Ace.
Is that?
I think so.
Yeah,
I've never heard of that company before, but that is a really good drink.
They're really, really good. So let's talk about some news real quick. I want to just go ahead and follow up on a story that we covered months and months ago.
You mean back when I was on the show?
Yeah, back when you were on the show. Premier Cinemas has a deluxe theater and pizza type of deal where they have really comfortable seating. They do food. You can have like footrest. Like they have I think alcohol there as well. It's just a really deluxe theater. And
it's called the Lux, in fact.
What's that?
It's called the Lux, right?
The Lux, yeah. The
Lux Theater.
Yeah, maybe, possibly. So they had bought the old Windsong Theater on Lakeshore Drive that later became, I think, a church, and were planning on opening up that theater. I went by there a couple weeks ago and noticed that it looked like there had been some renovations done, and I know the city council had appropriated some money for an access road to be built off of Lakeshore. And so there's no access road. It looked like there had been very little work done. So I, being the sleuth reporter that I am,
deep investigative reporting,
I emailed the company and was like, "Hey, are y'all still doing this, or has the project been abandoned?" And they let me know that they are still going forward with the project. They're still doing construction, and they're planning to be open by the fall. So,
well, that's good news. Because I'm glad it hasn't completely gone away.
Well, yeah, because I live kind of close to that theater, and it'd be nice to have that.
Me too. And I kind of forgot about it, honestly. We hadn't talked about it in so long, and there was no construction happening. And really, I don't have many reasons to drive past that area.
Yeah. Well, I do, because I go to Lowe's like 4 times. But it's like
that's
I go to Lowe's,
project.
Come home, and then like, oh, God, I have to go back to Lowe's.
It's 5 times in a day.
I mean, did you really do anything if you didn't go to Lowe's 4 times?
Yeah, because then you go to Home Depot.
My wife will attest that I can't go to Home Depot or Lowe's without going 5 times in a day.
Yeah, that's just how it works.
Because you'll look at something like, it looks like,
maybe I need some of these.
Yeah,
I don't need those. Let me take those back and get the things I actually needed. I have a whole trunk full of stuff right now in my car that needs to go back to Home Depot that I bought that just never got used.
We're planning on doing some repair work around the house here soon, and I have every belief and intention to set my schedule for at least 6 trips just to make sure.
That's a smart time
All right.
management,
Planning
man.
ahead, yeah.
All right, well, let's jump into some new news stories.
Go, Patrick. What you got?
Well, so this is kind of almost a follow-up, but it's new news. The bar Paper Doll, which is on First. It used to be Tavern on First, I believe.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
They are the first sensory inclusive bar in Birmingham. So the Culture City, a nonprofit we talked about last week in depth, is been involved. They're at it again. These guys, I mean, it's unbelievable how much momentum these guys have for getting things done in and around the city, and in and around the country as far as making places sensory inclusive. And so
They've partnered with the NBA.
yeah, they partnered with the NBA.
arenas,
Some of the I think MetLife Stadium, like they're on a roll as far as getting these things out there. But so they've come in, they've trained the staff. They're providing noise reducing headphones, fidget toys, and a feelings thermometer. This is all in like a sensory bag. This is really, to me, it's a lot about training and making people who work there not just aware of people with autism or sensory needs like PTSD or Parkinson's, but they know what to do, right? They know what kind of actions they can take to help somebody with that situation going on. And I think that's a truly incredible thing because, I made the unfortunate mistake of reading some of the AL.com comments, and people are like, why do we need this?
Why
and I'm
would
like,
you do that? Why would you do that?
If you know somebody that has, I think a vet with PTSD should have every right to be able to go into a bar and be comfortable and be in a situation where if they do have needs, that they can have those needs met. And so I think this is an amazing thing coming out of our city, to see this momentum they have, and I hope this grows and expands to every city in the country, every city around the world.
Every bar in Alabama.
Every bar in Alabama should have this for sure.
No, I mean, for real. So you were talking about the AL.com comments, which, notoriously you probably shouldn't ever look at those. But I looked at some of the Reddit comments on the story as well, and there were a few people in there commenting like, well, why do we need this? Or this seems unnecessary. And yeah, I mean, if you've ever known anybody that had, PTSD or autism or something that caused you to have sensory issues, like why wouldn't you want this to be available for those people? It's not really detracting from the experience of being at that bar or that airport or that NBA stadium. It's just one more option to help people who do need that service. I'm not really sure. I'm flabbergasted by the fact that there are these keyboard warriors so bold to say stuff like that. But
well, and I did see some people on Reddit who were saying, look, I am on the autism spectrum, and this is probably the only bar I would actually even consider going into. Now knowing that they have this and that this is available, just because it can be such an overwhelming experience. I mean, it's super loud. You probably hear people talking around here in the background and things like that. So it can be very overwhelming. So I think this is awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Culture City's done a really good job. I saw a story where they are like the number 4 most innovative companies in America, according to, I think it's Fast Company.
Yeah.
And I mean, that says a lot, especially for a company that was founded here in Birmingham. We're hoping to have them actually on the show at some point. They've kind of reached out to us, and we'll see if we can get them scheduled, because I think I would like to know more about them, and also I'd like them to tell their story. So it's a great story, really good story. I have something to throw out on there. It's kind of like a little note for everybody. So if you were planning on going to the Birmingham Legion FC's inaugural game, you need to know that it has been postponed. There's supposed to be some really bad weather on Saturday, which I hate that because I'm going to fly out of Birmingham on Saturday. So I'm hoping I get out, before the storm hits. So they have postponed the game. They're now going to host Bethlehem Steel on Sunday, March 10th at 4 o'clock at BBA Compass Field. The gates will open at 2 p.m. for pregame festivities, music, interactive games, and they'll have some happy hour prices on food and drinks. So if you have tickets, and you have a scheduling conflict, you should contact the Birmingham Legion at 600-4635, or you can email them at tickets@birminghamlegion.com. And they're going to televise this match. It's going on My 68. So.
Yeah, I think they have a contract to televise all of their games, right?
I think so, yeah.
Which is awesome. I was a little bummed out about this because, quite honestly, I was planning to go. It was a night game, like a 6 o'clock game originally.
Yeah.
I think they're moving it to 4 o'clock. Is
That's
that right?
Yeah, 4 p.m.
But this is on Sunday. I've got a very busy Sunday schedule.
And
so
also
I'm not gonna be able
remember,
to go.
on Sunday, you spring forward an hour.
Ooh, I'm glad you said that because
Yeah.
I really forgot.
So I'm flying
PSA.
I'm flying to the Eastern Time Zone. All right. So I fly in on the Eastern Time Zone on Saturday, and then that night we spring forward another hour. So I am going to be a complete garbage for a couple days.
Well, I work 7 to 4 on Sunday, and so that's going to be like a 4 a.m. wake up time for me on current time.
I have kids that don't know what daylight savings time is.
Well, it's same. I have a child too, so
Don't worry, I have
You'll
a
be in a
young
hotel
son
room.
who's going to be very
just
surprised.
quick child story because my wife said that I should have mentioned this, and I really should have because it's really funny. So we are moving our daughter, who is a little bit above 2 now, into a bed and not a crib.
All right.
And it's actually gone pretty well. She slept till like 6:30 this morning, that's a winner in my book. But the other morning, she woke up and we heard her and we got up and went to the room and she had locked the door to her room.
No.
We could not get it open to save her life. Like I did everything. I didn't have like the little key thing. So at 4:30 a.m., I got out the drill and was taking off the doorknob and opening it. You could hear her in the back, crying. She was fine. She was just kind of like, open the door, I want to see you. And it was just
Please tell me that during this experience you went ahead and reversed it so that the lock's on the outside now?
No, we didn't reverse it, but we have this thing to where the door will shut, but it won't lock anymore. So we're moving, so we so
Oh yeah, that's right.
So I'm not reversing anything right now.
I'm surprised you even put the lock back on or the knob back on. I'd have been like, I've already sold the house.
I'm
It's
moving,
already-
it's good,
It's under
yeah.
contract. They
So,
can fix this.
So that's an interesting story. But back to this. Have y'all gone by BVA Compass Field?
Not
Just
recently.
briefly in passing, like not.
So I
really
went by
to-
it tonight on the way here. It looks fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a soccer-specific stadium. It looks great.
They got it decked out.
Yeah, they really do. It looks good, and they have a big scoreboard, and the grandstands are kind of covered on one end. It looks like a soccer stadium, and I'm just really happy for it.
I know there's going to be people that are upset maybe about the schedule change. Maybe they don't have as much free time on Sunday as they would have on Saturday. But I think it's really good of them to look forward and really consider the fans that are going to be there in the crowd or the stadium.
Well, I think they want to make their first game. You want to be able to go to it instead of just
Sitting there in the rain or avoiding it because it's raining.
right. So that's good. Next story I kind of want to talk about is we have a new distillery. Well, it's kind of a follow-up story, too, because we kind of mentioned how this was coming to
a
town.
while back.
Yeah. But there's a new distillery coming to Birmingham. It's called Dread River Distillery. Now, the name Dread River is apparently there is a river that runs under Birmingham called Dread River. Maybe that's a legend, right?
I think it's. I don't know that it's actually true that there is a river running under Birmingham. I don't know that it's not true. It's a mystery.
But there is a distillery now called Dread River.
There is for sure.
Yeah. So they will have several different types of spirits, including bourbon, whiskey, which I blended whiskey, vodka, rum, and gin. And they'll also have several beers on tap
That are brewed in-house.
They're brewed in-house, yeah.
So they're kind of doing it all, right? They're
Right,
doing,
yeah.
I think they're even going to plan on having a wine, right?
Well, it's at this big space on 7th Avenue South. You know the building if you could see a picture of it right now, but it's almost 25,000 square feet. It's huge.
That's pretty large for a brewery.
Yeah.
Or a distillery.
Well, I don't know. What do you think
Whatever they
Cahaba?
are.
Yeah.
What do you think Cahaba Brewing is? I mean, that's a big space.
It's a big space. So I'm assuming they will have enough room for the brewery or distillery, as well as some kind of event space, tasting room, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, they're going to offer
if
tours
they-
and stuff, I think.
If they've got the distillery up and going, then they also need barrel room. So I mean, that's a pretty good bit of space.
Yeah, some storage.
I am concerned about one thing, and that's kind of what you mentioned here. Is they're kind of covering a lot of ground with what they're offering. If they were just a distiller, I'd be like, all right, cool. Like we could use a distiller around here. But if they're doing a distillery, they're serving beer, wine, cocktails. That's a pretty big list.
Well, I mean, there are people that aren't. I mean, you go meet up at a place. There are people that aren't going to want to drink liquor.
Right.
They're going to want to
Sure.
drink a beer or a glass of wine.
Right.
So, I mean,
Well, and it
those
also takes a
almost
couple of
sound
years
like-
to get distilleries up and going.
yeah, I mean, you need some stuff to age and sit in barrels for a while and things like that. But
I'll take some Birmingham bourbon though. Right?
yeah, absolutely.
I'm down with that. I think it'll be really cool. I've often wondered why we didn't have that already. I think Avondale maybe experimented a little bit with was it Wooden Goat or one of those that they were brewing some stuff or distilling
Oh no,
some
there's
stuff.
it was Common House.
Was
they,
that it?
they had some distillery stuff, and now they just do I think the gin.
Somebody was doing vodka, weren't they? Was
I
it
think
Avondale?
vodka gin,
Yeah, maybe
vodka
too,
and gin,
yeah.
maybe.
But I don't think they're doing that much anymore. But
Yeah, so this seems like a much bigger operation, and I think this is a good addition to our city. I think it'll be awesome.
yeah, one of the founders worked under Frank Stitt for years, and so she brings that kind of restaurant and hospitality service to the brewery or distillery. So it's going to be a big location in an area that is starting to see a lot of development. So we wish them kind of well.
Yeah, I really do hope it does well. And if you want to see their website, it's at dreadriver.com.
Yeah, and I got a link to the. We'll put a link to the Birmingham Business Alliance, is where we got this story. We'll put a link on the website as well. All right, so the last story, and we kind of got into this afternoon because we saw this. So this was Matthew's story. So Matthew, I'm gonna let you take it away from here.
All right, so we've talked about Brat Brat several times on the show before. We've also talked about their closing late last year and their potential reopening as they announced on their Instagram and their website. So they put out a Instagram post today and a link on their website as well. And I'm going to kind of read it here. It's pretty short, but they said the hibernation is almost over. Brat Brat will be reopening in April with many exciting changes. Here's a quick guide for what to expect. All right, now, so here we go.
Here we go.
This is what they're coming back with. We will be more evening focused with hours on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from 4 p.m. until 11:30 p.m., Friday from 4 p.m. until 12:30 a.m., and all day on Saturday from 11 a.m. until 12:30 a.m. We will offer a full bar with 6 classic cocktails on tap, a revamped food menu, and some cozier seating options with casual table service inside. Along with these changes, we will also be adult only, 21 and up, at all times, and will no longer be showing sports on the TVs, except for college football on Saturdays in the fall. We'll also have a bunch of fun activities and daily specials, including more games outside, our popular Stein hoisting competition, and a new late-night brunch menu on Friday nights from 9 p.m. until 11 p.m. We will announce a grand reopening date soon and are enthusiastic about seeing you all here once again.
Okay, where do I start?
All right.
Okay.
So wait.
Talk about what you like first. Okay.
Yeah, all right. So
Matthew.
I saw this announcement. My wife sent it to me just almost as soon as I had seen it because she saw it too, and then several of my other friends saw it. We were talking about this in a group message we have going on. Overall, I like the general idea of these changes. The one big hang-up I have is the idea of only showing football.
That's
college
the big
football.
hang-up you have?
That's my big hang-up. I'm completely okay with the idea of bringing in different seating ideas. Like I would like to sit at a table with my friends that's not a long bench table where everybody's sitting.
I actually agree with that.
I like that. I like that change.
I like the idea of them putting some cocktails and having a full bar on the menu instead of just
I like
beer.
that too.
Agreed.
I like the hours.
Not so big on the hours.
I have nothing against the hours. Those are hours that I would really only ever go there anyway. And I really like the idea of the late night menu, even though I probably won't be in a position to
I like
partake.
the idea too for a late night menu or brunch. Yeah. I'm fine with that.
Well, I'll say two things about the hours. One, there's no Sunday time, which the only time I've ever been was for brunch on a Sunday, which that's
Same
gone
here.
now.
Yeah.
And I know y'all really liked the brunch.
I did. I
It was
enjoyed
good. It was really, really good.
But I agree with you on the tables and the hour. I don't necessarily agree on the hours. I think they could probably expand those a little bit more. I love that they say it all day from 11 a.m. I'm like, dude, my day is like way half over.
I'm
by
waking up
11
at 5 a.m. Like,
Yeah.
11
And I
a.m. You're like,
understand. They're
you're
more
like,
of a-
man, 7 hours. I go to bed. You know.
I get it. They're really trying to be more of a bar with food than a restaurant with a bar or with beer.
Well, okay.
So-
and less of a beer
well,
garden.
so I gave all those items.
Okay.
Because I think this last thing is where we're probably going to have some controversy.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
All right, so I am completely okay with the idea that this place is going to be 21 and over all the time. Because when I was younger, when I was single or when we were just married and we didn't have kids, we had some experiences at bars or restaurants where, for lack of a better term, there were free-range children that kind of ruined the experience. there is every reality that some parents are great with taking their kids to a restaurant, keeping them controlled and behaved, and their kids are great, and that's awesome. But some parents aren't great at that, and so you take those parents and you take them in a restaurant, and it kind of detracts from the experience for the people who are there without kids or who have a babysitter that night. Yeah. So I'm cool with this idea, but I'm seeing y'all's faces, and I know you're probably not.
Ready to jump in here. We're like, hold on. I want to jump in on it.
I've said my piece.
Go
ahead.
Let you go, Patrick.
So I think a couple of things about this. One, first of all, as somebody who has taken kids there, my kids had a great time there playing bocce in the back and all that and ping pong and really enjoyed it. It was nice to me that there was a space outdoors, even though it was insanely hot out there, that they could go play. And I didn't feel like my kids were all up in anybody else's space. They were just having a good time and being good kids. Which is rare for them. But, so like you said, I agree with a lot of the things they said. One of the things being that they're doing more table service, casual table service. I'm not exactly sure what that means. But it sounds like they're going to have people bringing out food instead of having to go get it.
That's how I interpret it.
I'm hoping that you can order.
Which I like that idea. Because,
I do too.
Yeah, I mean, it was.
I'm hoping that you can order your food and drinks all at the same place.
Yes, please.
Yes.
Because that was a little bit of a.
You had to run over here to get your drinks,
disjointed.
and you got to stand in line, and then you lost your table.
And your kids are wanting to get food over here, and you want to go get a drink over there. But anyway, the thing I think this excludes a good portion of. I mean, like you're talking about. This is not just little kids you're excluding. You're talking about kids that are at UAB. So, I mean, you can't – you're a freshman at UAB. You can't go to Brat because you're not 21 yet. So, I don't really understand the 21 and up. I could understand 18 and up. I don't know. It seems to me like, though, they're really trying to make this more of a bar.
Well, if they weren't offering food, if they were just going to go to just strictly alcohol, I really could understand that part. But even if they were going that way, I mean, look, there have been many times where we, load up our daughter and we go to Cahaba Brewing Company or to Good People, and I think they're going to exclude a good portion of their customer base. Now, I think there's a way they get around this. There have been lots of places. I was thinking of this in Tuscaloosa. There's a place called Will Hagen's.
Yep,
I loved Will Hagen's.
Yep,
and Will Hagen's was family friendly until about I think 8 or 9 or 9
o'clock.
About
8 o'clock, and then they would go around and ID everybody.
Yeah, and then
kick people out,
and then they quit serving food at a certain time.
Yeah,
that would be fine. But and then also they're the late night hours during the week are fine, and that's fine. But also not showing sports. What are you going to show on TV?
Yeah, that I don't understand.
You're going to show yodeling?
That is the one thing that I don't get.
When the Legion are on TV on a Saturday or Sunday, or the Iron,
which would be a great thing to show on those TVs.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like because if you're not down at the game, watch it on TV or away games or whatever. I think maybe they'll reincorporate some more of that in there. I think they want to be a bar, but not a sports bar.
Yeah.
But then it's like it's kind of a beer garden, but it's not really like a pub atmosphere because you can't. It's not family friendly. I don't know. It's a little bit confused still. I don't know. It's interesting to me because Kerrigan's is the same way. Kerrigan's will not let you bring a child in. We had somebody that was telling me that like they tried to take their kid into a business meeting, and you were having like a business lunch there, and they had like a newborn baby. They obviously can't leave. And they were like, no, you can't bring the baby in here.
I'm just going to put her in the car. I mean.
If the meeting's an hour, it's cool.
That to me is just sort of kind of crazy.
Well, I mean, like, I wonder what's going to happen when someone, like, has their baby in a pouch and they walk in there. Is the bartender going to be like, we don't serve your kind here? I mean, like.
I don't know, but.
I really do think that they're gonna lose out on a lot of business. Because I'll be honest with you, for us to go to Brat, I'm going to have to hire a babysitter, and nothing against Brat. I'm not hiring a babysitter to go to Brat.
Yeah, well,
exactly.
Or at least to the point that I think I made maybe with one of my groups earlier talking about this may not even be a place where I would have gone without having a babysitter. I'm not going to get a babysitter just to go there, but if I had a babysitter and we were like, well, let's just swing by Brat real quick. All right, I mean, I might. I don't see myself taking a kid in there even before this rule was implemented. But you're right. Like, you make some good points. What about the college students who are under 21 who just want to eat their food?
Yeah, or go hang out with their friends that are 21. I mean,
and I guess the only counter to that is you got to draw a line somewhere. Well, so do you make it at 18? Do you make it at 20? Like,
I really do think you go with we were talking about earlier, where
at a certain time,
it's like, hey guys, it's 21 and over at this point.
And so they used to do that. It used to be, I think, up until 6 p.m. it was all ages were fine. Then after 6 p.m. they started carding people.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a great idea. I'm not really sure why they stepped away from that. My only speculation is they did send out surveys for like potential customers to fill out.
Could have been part of it.
And
yeah.
I think maybe what happened is a lot of people that actually responded to that survey were maybe a younger crowd who didn't want kids there. That's all I can think of.
I'll be honest. I responded to the survey and didn't even think to put in there like keep welcoming kids because they did before.
Yeah.
So it would be hard to get that feedback. And you said,
but you know
unless
what?
you asked
I
specifically,
do
like,
get
do you
where
want kids here?
you say that because before we had kids, we'd go places there'd be kids running out everywhere, and sometimes you get frustrated. But the times we went to Brat, I never got that feeling whatsoever.
No, I didn't have that
I
experience
never
with
got
Brat.
that feeling.
I will tell you, and this is the same example I used with my chat group, Mafioso's.
Oh, yeah.
That is the place. I've been there probably 20 times.
Great
and
pizza, great food.
9
It'd be
times out of
wonderful.
10, there is a group of kids in there who are, well, I'm going to use the term again, free-range kids who are running past me and
free-range kids.
bumping into my table, kicking my chair. Like their parents are nowhere to be found, and they're just like out and about.
Yeah, it's the same at a lot of pizza places. Like
Yeah.
Davenport's is very similar. Johnny Brusco's and Vestavia. All those is like there's a game room somewhere. They're going running back and forth.
But Mafioso's doesn't have a game room.
I know.
It's insane.
I know, but it's still more of a family environment where pizza places you're going to take your kids, you're going to sit and drink your
But it
beers,
was
and
one of
they're
those
gonna
things
run
that
a while.
made me feel like anytime somebody brought up Mafiosos, I was like, no, I don't really want to go there.
Right.
So that's money I'm not going to spend there.
Well, I
guess-
guess we're going to see at some point because they're going to open up, and if they see a significant drop off in their sales, they're going to ask folks why, and they may hear this.
Absolutely. So this is they're going to come back here really soon, and if there are enough people who are upset about some of these rules, they may modify and change some of this stuff. So if you're a customer that's upset about this, or you're not going to be a patron there, there's nothing wrong with letting them know. If nothing changes, that's on them.
Absolutely. Yeah.
They may know their market research and their margins, and they may be completely okay with that. But if you don't make your opinion known, nothing's going to change.
I still want to know what they're going to show on the TVs. Like, I'm serious about that. Like, they got
Are they
these
just
really
going to
nice
shut them
TVs.
off?
All
don't know.
right. To that point, though, I will say this: I like going to a restaurant or a bar sometimes where there's not extraneous noise or TVs or stuff going on. Like, I just sometimes like to be able to hear myself talk.
But I think when I went there, they didn't have the volume up. I think they were showing like
the only
Wimbledon or
time I
tennis or
went,
something.
they had football on, and there was like minor volume.
Yeah.
But I'm just in general.
I don't. It's interesting to me because I would think. Well, obviously, for college football Saturdays, they're gonna crank up the volume and show Alabama,
Everybody
Auburn,
that's
and
there is
UAB
gonna be there
on the
for the
TVs,
game.
which I totally get. That's a huge draw, but the rest of the time they're not trying to be a sports bar. There are, and people argue like, oh, if you want to take your kid, you can take them to Avondale. It's right down the street. You can take them to some of the other breweries and places like that. I just. I don't love this choice, but it is their bar.
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons, like, I know there have been times where I've had conversations with people. It's like, hey, you want to meet at Kerrigan? Oh, we can't meet at Kerrigan's. Let's go somewhere else because can't take kids to Kerrigan's.
And look, and this is nothing against their product. They put out a great product. Their food is fantastic. They have great beer choices. I'm glad they're bringing other things other than beer there.
Yeah, full bar.
They have a great location. I love the back place where you can you could let your kids run wild and run all that injury. But it was really, really good place. But at this point, I don't know if we're able to go because usually if I'm somewhere other than recording this podcast, I have a 2-year-old little girl with me. So,
well, we'll see. It'll be fun. I'm glad they're opening back up because I do think it's an asset. I do think it's a good place in the community, and I do think that I thought that a lot of people were like, hey, yay, cheers, great. This is great news that they're bringing it back and they're adding these things and they're making it 21 and up. So obviously, Matthew sits on one side, I sit on another, and I think it's kind of polarizing, but it's going to have its fans. And so they may get some business that they wouldn't have gotten before where people go, oh, I'm not going to go there because there's kids on the ping pong table. There's,
You saw that Reddit comment too?
Yeah, I did. To be fair, it's a marble ping pong table. It's not like they're dancing on a little flimsy thing out there. It's like it's a solid piece of stone out there. But anyway,
sometimes you just play ping pong, man.
It's not a black and white issue, and I think because it is probably has a lot to do with their profit margins. There's going to be some changes and probably some adjustments made in the next 6 months or a year. So it'll be interesting to see what they do, if they stick with this for a while or if they change.
Yeah. Well, it's a
deal.
good show today, guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. We want to thank our guests, Liz Rodell and Tom Walker with Sloss Real Estate Company. Great, like we said, great interview. We're glad to have them. We also want to thank the Lumbar for hosting us again. You can find them on lumbarbham.com. Come see Tim and Riley and let them know Red Mountain Express sent you. J.D. Baker is not with us this week. He is still on paternity leave.
Yep.
Him and his wife welcomed a beautiful baby girl a couple weeks ago, and we wish him and his family well. Before we close out the show, I wanted to say a quick message. Some folks in East Alabama and the Lee County area were really affected by the tornadoes last weekend. And we certainly, as two people that went to the University of Alabama, understand how devastating tornadoes can be. So, please give them all the support you can. One of the things I'll say is you can go to the United Way of Central Alabama.org, UWCA.org, and contribute to them. 100% of that money goes to the folks in Lee County because they really, really need it. Again, thank you for being on the show today. To Liz and to Tom. We'll be back hopefully next week, or if not in a couple weeks. Remember, you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You can also go to our website and let us know how you think we're doing on this show at redmountainexpress.com. For Patrick Tucker and Matthew Joyner, I'm Blake Westbrook. We'll see you in a couple weeks.